Hello and welcome to MxM Live. We have here with us Mr. Ajay Gupte, CEO South Asia at Wavemaker. Ajay took charge at Wavemaker earlier this year and he moved back to India from Indonesia last year, that is 2019. And when he came to India, he was CEO South Asia. And before that, he was managing director at Wavemaker in Indonesia from 2017 to 2019. And spent a good six and a half years as managing director of MEC, and before that, director at OMD in West Africa, that is Nigeria and Ghana, and before that in Mumbai and Bangalore, and worked a bit with TVS and Gurgaon, or Gurugram as it says. So welcome to MxM Live. Ajay, how are you? Kasakai, Kem Cho, or I say, since you're in Gurgaon now, should I say, Ki gal hai?
Ki gal hai. Balo achi, saru che, majama chu. So thank you, Pradyuman. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And congratulations, third anniversary of Wavemaker.
Yes, it's a time to celebrate. A new agency born just 3 years ago with a lot of potential, a very strong base, and a very bright future. So we are very excited.
Great, and I still remember the days when MEC and Maxis merged, and of course the emphasis and then was more, the focus was more on the people who are there and who will move where. But would you say that having spent time with Wavemaker at in a market like Indonesia, which is really big and happening, and so you are obviously aware of the reasons why they were merged, etc. So would you say that those reasons, those objectives have been achieved in these 3 years?
Yeah, so I've been fortunate actually to be part of Maxis in India, and
right,
then part of MEC in Indonesia. I used to head the Maxis Delhi office before I left the country. So I am very familiar with the Maxis way of working. Deeply fond of Maxis. And then I was in MEC in Indonesia, where I spent since 2011 is when I joined. And I was with MEC till it merged into Wavemaker in the end of 2017. So good 6 years odd that I spent with MEC. So very fond of MEC too. So I had a first-hand view of both the cultures. And when the merger happened, I was, I think, in a very good position to understand the two different cultures and bring them together. And I think that was the biggest task that we really had. And you are right, it's about people, it's about getting everyone together, it's about the client, who are used to a particular style, and then be able to get them together. One good thing that we had, one good starting point that we had, is that a lot of the tools that MEC and Maxis have were very similar because they had shared tools at a global level. And that really helped. So the way of working was quite similar with a few, little cultural changes, but largely the way of working was very similar. And I think that made things a lot easier. The work process was at least very well aligned. So I think in that sense, it was good. But it was a wonderful journey getting the two agencies together, two powerful agencies. I think both had some very good strengths and very powerful cultures. And it was challenging, but very satisfying to bring these two together. In Indonesia, actually, we were both of the same size. So effectively, when the two agencies got together, we completely doubled in size. And that was great because size brings with it a lot of advantages and a lot of ability to invest. So that, in a way, was the whole going in agenda when Wavemaker was created, which is to use the ability of the size and the scale, bring it together, and invest in areas of growth, which were content, data, technology, the three areas that we wanted to invest in. And since then, it's been a journey where we have made massive investments. By coming together, actually, we were able to focus our resources in these three areas, and the focus is still on, and the investments are still on. But I think we've been able to demonstrate that we are in a very, very good position to to take on the changes and the challenges that media is facing and clients are facing, and deliver a very, very strong product to all of them.
The biggest challenge in all these mergers, and even though you were part of GroupM, is the meeting of minds, is a meeting of minds, and more importantly, egos. You were in a scenario and in Indonesia where you mentioned both the companies, both the agencies were of the same size. So same size perhaps means more fireworks, because there are issues, and there are clients, and there are people around. So it's more of an HR issue. May not have been as much here in India because MxS was the dominant player. But still, how is that? How did the merger happen? How much of an HR issue was it?
So I think yes, in India, relatively, MxS was in a much stronger position, but I do believe it was handled very well, because we managed to get the best from both the agencies, and we did have a very, very strong talent base across the agencies.
The essence of both, I would say. Right?
Correct. The essence of both, yes, and we had a spin-off into Essence also. So yes, in that sense. But yeah, I think it was managed really well. It was very well thought through, and the whole thinking in terms of the product, in terms of what we will stand for. When we started, we said we are all about media, content, and technology, which is not just it's just not bringing them together and then leaving it to develop on its own. There was a very clear agenda on what we wanted to do. The very clear investment areas. So across the world, we have invested massively behind content. Our capabilities in content have grown significantly. We also invested massively behind technology. And when I talk about technology, it's in two areas. One basically is in the terms of data, which is understanding of the consumer, understanding of how the purchase journey works, and making the most of it. And the second is in terms of implementation, which is the whole piece of reporting and activation and all of that brought together in terms of tools. I think is the other area that we massively invested in. So it was. What was very well done, I think, and when you look back in retrospect, and that where you went right, where you went wrong. I think what we did really well was to be very clear of what we wanted in terms of benefit, and drawing out the roadmap in terms of what we will actually invest in across the market.
I think it took almost a year in the making, because it was announced first, it was thought through, it was announced. The name wasn't announced, and so the entire process took a fair amount of time.
It did. Actually, internally, we were aware of it in, I think, around June, July of 2017, and it was called Newco then.
That's right, Newco.
So Newco was the name, and then we worked on it for 6 months, and the leaders were announced in that period, in that 6 months. So we had a good 2-3 months to set up the teams, decide the new structures, make the right investments, use logo changes in the office. There were lots of small elements that were put in place. And then finally
got back to India after almost a decade, right? So after having spent in Africa, in Indonesia, so these are dramatically different markets. So how was it from 10 years back to now? Because obviously the things have changed dramatically. Digital has become a major factor. MxS was always very digitally active, and now it was Wavemaker, which was uh, 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 the entire effort was to make it a digitally first agency.
So, having worked in different parts of the world, you could very easily see the massive strides that India is making. The world is looking at India. We are doing a phenomenal job in terms of data, and I think mathematics comes naturally to quite a few of us. So the amount of work being done here is actually exceptional, and is on the world stage. Even today, there are some pieces of work that we do which is celebrated globally, and sitting outside, I could see the way India was taking massive strides, and the whole attention that is on the country, and this kept on increasing over the years. Coming back, when I came back in 2019, I think our capabilities are phenomenal. When you look at the kind of work happening, in terms of creativity also, the kind of content that we are creating, the kind of insights and data that we have of the consumer. When we talk about M platform, we are talking about 300 million user IDs at any point of time, which are refreshed on a second level. So you know this behavior, and you can target it, and the ability to dynamically optimize your creatives to be able to reach out to this consumer and target them is phenomenal. So I think the capabilities that have been built up are incredible, really, and the kind of work happening is definitely world class today in India.
And you came back and decided to move to Gurugram, where Wavemaker. In fact, all GroupM agencies have been typically headquartered in Mumbai.
Mhm.
And so, what's a Bombay boy doing in Gurugram?
So yeah, honestly, when I came in, I had the option of choosing either Mumbai or Gurugram. The thing is that I have just before I left for out of the country, I was in Gurugram for about 5 years, and there is a friend circle here. There is a community here that we are comfortable with, relative to when I was in Mumbai, which was some time ago. I also it was that was the time when I had just got married, and my wife was also comfortable. So I think that was one major factor in selecting Gurugram. The second thing is, I think there is a little bit of more comfort in Gurugram relatively at a more affordable price. So that definitely was a clincher. So life here is a little bit more comfortable.
And of course, you also have a lot of clients who are in Gurugram, right? In terms of your
Yes.
client ratio, where are most of your clients now? Are they in Gurugram or Mumbai or Bangalore? What is the
No, so our client base definitely is much stronger in Mumbai. Yeah, we've got a very, very strong client base in Mumbai. Mumbai, I think, accounts for about 60% of our total business, which is very large. But even those days before COVID, traveling was never a problem. I was in Mumbai almost through the week, and then post COVID, anyway, distances don't matter. We are having these calls,
yeah,
which allow us to be anywhere in the world, really.
yeah.
So
Sitting
that
in Dubai
really didn't
also, you
matter.
don't move around.
Correct. So then I actually wanted to look after the comfort of the family first, which I thought was there. In terms of clients, really it didn't matter because I was around everywhere.
And and then you took over in Jan, and the lockdown happened, and obviously it mustn't have been the best of experiences. But I see that y'all did manage to navigate the lockdown and and if I might say even the downturn that followed.
So I'm extremely proud of the way we've held ourselves together. The lockdown was a massive challenge. I remember, we were having a leadership meeting in Mumbai, I think on the 11th and 12th, when they started closing malls, and they said, gyms are closed, swimming pools are closed, restaurants are closed, and then I told the team, let's all now split and get back to our home bases. You don't know what will happen next. So I think it was on the 13th or the 14th of March where we all left and came back to home base, and then the lockdown happened. So it wasn't easy, and thereafter, March, April, May were very, very difficult months where clients, the spends were just pulled off. The plug was just pulled on all spends across the board. But I think our team really came together very well. It was a new team. A lot of we were new, we were fresh together. But the way we stood together, I think the first 3 months was about standing with the client, giving them a lot of information, supporting them with what's happening across the globe, how things are changing in the COVID times, with sharing information on what other brands are doing, what other categories are doing, and then gearing ourselves up for the comeback, and doing a lot of work on content, improving our capabilities in performance, in digital, and also getting the best kind of deals for our clients across media. I think we all put it off very, very well. The kind of work that we have really done in the last 6 months. So, the fantastic work done in content, the amount of new things that we have created, be it for Mondelez, be it for MTR, Mother Dairy, Perfetti. The list is endless, really. And COVID was kind of a steroid booster, and got us, charged up further to really do a lot more in the areas that we were building anyways, but it really gave us a thrust. So I think there's a lot happened there. Apart from that, it has been a new business bonanza in a way. So we've won upwards of 700 crores of billing in this period.
And if I might ask you the not so nice question, were there some losses also in terms of business? Were there clients who moved out?
Actually, in the COVID period, none. Post March, we've been fortunate. We haven't had any losses in the COVID period, but the wins have been tremendous.
So you've had a host of new people who have come in. I know you have a chief growth officer. You have Premjit Sodhi, who's moved here. Then you have a new head of the ITC business. Then you have somebody who is also looking at global analytics. Of course, that's on a global role. But a huge, it's also a new top deck.
Absolutely, and a fantastically capable top deck. And I'm really, really proud of the kind of team we've been able to put together. Some very, very old and strong hands within the system. So one of the big changes we made was of having Vishal Jacob, who's our chief digital officer, come on board. Vishal used to head digital for us in the MxM days. Right. And then he was with GroupM. And then getting him back on board was brilliant because he understood our culture, he understood us intrinsically. He also had a GroupM perspective, and that added a lot of value. So having VJ on board, as he is called, has been brilliant. Then we had Premjit come on board. Premjit, who's a stalwart, a person that you really look up to. And he came on board as our chief strategy officer, which was another real big win for us. He's massively respected in the industry, a very, very strong body of work with him. So getting him on board again was brilliant. Kishan, who has been leading South for us for some time now. Kishan was also leading Vietnam for us in Maxis a couple of years ago. And then he came back again to lead the South team. Another phenomenal, leader on the team. Someone who's so charged, that I'm so happy that he has taken up the chief growth officer role, because the kind of energy that he brings into the system, the amount of passion that he brings into the system, is just makes our growth role that much stronger. So we've got Kishan take up that role. We've then got Mac take up the role to lead ITC in the South. Mac is another, long time GroupM star. He's been at Mindshare for a very long time. He's worked with us in Kenya and managed a large part of Africa. Another really, really strong powerful pillar of the organization. So he's come on board. Apart from that, we've had Sandeep, with the wonderful work that he did in data and tech and analytics, move on to a global role. So now we also have representation at a global level. And the beauty of it is that he's doing all of it from India. And he's going to lead the analytics practice sitting right out of Gurugram. So that's another wonderful thing, I think.
So tell me, did you know you took charge in January, and of course there were murmurs of a downtown, and there were obviously, although WPP had stated that things would not be bad for people, but obviously there were fears of job losses and what would happen when it was uh, from a 1 day lockdown went to 14 days, and it just went on and on and on. So how was it dealing with that situation for you? Did you ever feel, gosh, kahan fas gaye? Taking charge at Wavemaker, I was better off in Indonesia.
No, actually, so it hasn't been easy. It would be foolhardy to say it was easy, but it hasn't been easy at all. But I think in times such as this, people come together a lot more. And you tend to uh, galvanize your resources that much stronger. And in that sense, it gave us as a team the opportunity to hold hands together and fight strongly. So it really fast tracked our team building really. So in that sense, COVID helped us come together. The April, May, June period was really bad, but it allowed us to then really think through what is it that we want to do. And when our clients came back starting July, there was so much great work that was being churned out. So in that sense, I think we managed it really well. And I'm really optimistic about 2021 now, because you look at it, you say, it can never be as bad as 2020, and there is going to be growth. There is definitely growth ahead of us. We lost 25% of the year. We lost a quarter. So that quarter is coming back to us now in 2021. It's going to be given back to us, and in that itself, there is massive growth. Plus the amount of things that we have done, the kind of work that we have done, the kind of relationships that we have built, will definitely come into play when we enter 2021. We've got that much closer to our clients now, and that really puts us in a very, very good position.
So third anniversary, your thoughts? How's the rivalry with Mindshare doing? Typically we've not had an MVs this year, and I don't think we have one. But it's always interesting to figure what the rivalry with your older sibling is. How's that doing?
Yes, so we've always had a very healthy rivalry since Maxus and Mindshare days. It's always been a healthy little tussle that we keep having on our own, and it is fun. It's good competition. I was at the MVs last year, and it was so much fun. It was a race to the finish. It was far more exciting than the Trump Biden run happening right now.
Well,
I enjoyed that. Correct. So it was fun, and I think we are soon becoming very, very big in the rear view mirror, and they better watch out.
That's an alert. I must try and relay. I must clip this bit and send it off to Mac, to Maps rather. So you mentioned about the Achhe Din happening, right? Which you are very hopeful about. So as you look ahead, what do you see for the next year, apart from a growth forecast that you kind of indicated on? But is there anything more that one can expect from Wavemaker? What is the next big wave, if I might use the word, for you?
So there are a lot of small waves or medium-sized waves that we're putting together. And I spoke about this earlier, but the first is in terms of the team. Uh, I think you would struggle to find such a strong team anywhere else. A really really strong team who have now bonded really well together. These last 7 months have been like 5 years, and we really bonded extremely well. So it's a well bonded, strong, capable team. That's first part. Second is the investments that we have made as Wavemaker in automation, in data, in our understanding of the consumer and the consumer journey. It's the investments that we've made in content, in creating fantastic pieces of content for our clients, and it's the relationships that we've strengthened in this time with our clients because we've been there. These have been tough times, and we've stood strong together. All of this is going to come together really. I am very very optimistic and hopeful that all of these little waves that we have put together will come into play and create a tsunami of sorts. And I'm very hopeful that we currently are about 14% market share. I'm hoping we hit 20 very very soon.
That's very heartening news. But tell me, we've been hearing the word content even while you're speaking. In terms of your earnings pie, uh, would you be able to quantify as to how it has changed over the last year or over the last, or perhaps since the time that you moved out of India and you moved out of Maxis?
Oh, so the the last 10 years have seen a massive change. So if I were to split it, saying and I am actually I refrain from calling it core and non-core because I believe non-core is becoming core very soon, and that definition holds no water anymore. So I refrain from that always. But in this particular case, because we're talking about a 10-year time frame, what is called as core in those days would have been say 80 to 85% of the money we made. I think I can very safely say that is close to about 50 to 60% today. So
And in non-core, there are greater opportunities to make monies, right? Because it's beyond just trading volumes. It's beyond the inventory that you buy across
yeah,
media.
absolutely. So we're talking about things like digital, there's performance, there is the content piece, there's analytics, there's a lot of work being done there. And honestly, the beauty of it is there is money which is there, but apart from that, it's the capability that you bring to the table, and that brings more business in, and that creates a much stronger association with the client, and a much higher level association with the client. So I think it's beyond money, really.
Ajay, I'm going to ask you two more questions. One is,
Hmm.
you mentioned about uh, the fact that people look at India in a very big way. Now, we've had in the past an Indian take a global leadership position at Maxis in the past. But when do you see India becoming as big as in the world order that you perhaps have your headquarters of an agency of your size shifting to India?
Uh, in terms of size, in APAC, we are already number two. I'm talking about Wavemaker. We are number two,
After
and I think after China.
after
After
China.
China, we are a number two in APAC, and a strong number two. In on the global stage, I think we are a top five country, which is also a very strong position to be in. We already have Sandeep, who is now on the global stage and out of India. We've had a couple of leaders from Maxis who have gone to the global stage in the past. So I think these are all positive movements. It's difficult to say a time because it's about agenda. What the agenda of the agency? How are we looking at it? Where our big clients are? those are important things. And I think globally it's shrinking also. So whether the leadership is here or anywhere else, really doesn't matter.
Perhaps it doesn't make a difference. Before this interview happened, and since I've not interacted with you, I asked a host of people about you and what you were like, because we've had uh, 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 you know 2 or 3 people who have been around in a similar position at Maxis and MEC. And are you as aggressive as, say, an Ajit Varghese, or are you a cool guy like Karthik? So I didn't get a real view, except for people saying, yeah, he's a cool guy, he's aggressive, etc. etc. What is Ajay Gupte all about? What is he like? People perhaps don't know you as much, and thanks to the lockdown, you're still, if I might say, in the closet.
Correct. So yeah, this is a real tricky one. So we've had some absolute legends who are leading Maxis. Started with Srini, and I worked with Srini, and we had Ajit. I worked with Ajit too, and then we had Karthik in India, and then I worked with Karthik too. So it's been a pleasure working with all of them, and now I'm sitting in that same seat. It is definitely an honor to be here. And about me personally, I think there is a lot to know, and you will you will figure that out, because there are some very good plans going on, and it will all come into fruition, and you will know about the story behind the man very soon.
Great. On that note, happy anniversary once again, and may you make many waves as we go along. And I must confess, I'll send that clip to the people at Mindshare. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thanks a lot.